Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and my videos and my work is all about helping you reclaim your identity and your style. I do this with a range of traditional styling methods like colour analysis, body shape analysis, but also I am a qualified coach and NLP consultant because style is more than just your clothes. It's about you as an individual. I have a range of services from one-to-one sessions, online courses, and of course my membership, the Identity Atelier. If you're curious about working with me, I'll leave all the details below, but your first point of contact will be a clarity call to figure out where you're struggling, what your goals are, and to see if we're a good fit to work with each other. So go ahead and book that in. Now let's get into today's video. If you're a regular here, you may have seen my video from a couple of weeks ago where I discussed these frames. I talked about the main characteristics of colour and gave you the opportunity of telling me which frames worked best, whether it was cool or warm, light or dark, bright or muted. And a lot of questions and comments came in and I thought I'd address those, but also at the end, I'm going to go through the winter frames, which is something you haven't seen before, that get into a little bit more detail. So again, those of you watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a winter. So we'll get into the details of that a little bit later and see if you can guess right. So one of the first questions I want to address is, they said, I wonder if the last two tests are harder to see because they include both warm and cool colours. Now this person was talking about the bright and muted and light and dark frames. They continue to say if they were broken out into additional frames with cool and warm colours separated, it would be easier, I think. Okay, let's get into that. Let's talk about bright and muted first of all. Now, the reason that there are cool and warm colours within these frames is because if you are typed as a bright something, a muted something, the same with light and dark, by the way, it means that you have some tolerance for leaning into the other side of temperature. So let's say you're a soft summer. Yes, you're on the cool side. However, there is a bridge over to the warmer side. And that is not going to rock things too much because temperature is just not a priority for you. Some people are closer to neutral. So the reason those frames have cool and warm colours in them is because you should be able to tolerate them in some capacity. Temperature is just not that big of a deal for you. Our next comment up, they said, bright and dark were instantly obvious to me, but warm and cool was not. I am always struggling mostly with temperature in every video and about myself. If you're a person who's struggling with identifying cool and warm in yourself, the likelihood is that you are part of that family of chroma, bright or muted, or value, light or dark. And again, temperature is just not that important for you. So many people I see when I do color analysis or just get talking to people about cool and warm, they're so determined to find out if they're cool or warm, and they feel like this is the holy grail of color analysis, that this is the thing they have to figure out. It's not. It's not for a lot of people. So if you are having a hard time understanding if you're cool or warm, it just might not be a priority for you. Now, I'm saying that from a trained color consultant perspective. If you are struggling identifying your colors because you're not trained, you're just having a go and there's a skill to it and there's experience needed to see these things. So don't be hard on yourself. Get a color consultation and know once and for all. Another comment from this video, going grey has changed my original winter palette. Muted now looks better on me. I had your colouring when I was your age. Certainly grey hair can have an impact on how colours appear on you. Doesn't mean that grey hair coming through always means that your colours are softening. No, absolutely not. I know people who absolutely need brighter colours still, even though their hair is going grey, has gone grey. I think it's one of the things that you need to get right. It's so important as you get older because if you start softening your colours because your hair colour is softening, I get the impression that this actually ages people. Whereas if they had a tolerance for brighter colours before, just be careful that you're not automatically putting yourself into a softer category because brighter colours might still be needed for you to look the age that you are and not older. But this is not about necessarily trying to look younger or anything like that. It's about looking your age and knowing what's best for you. I feel like when people get older, they automatically lean into softer colors, and I think that's a big mistake. One actually person that I noticed recently, I'm watching the Great British Sewing Bee if anybody's into that. You know Esme Young, she is just, I love her, phenomenal. But she mostly wears a bright lipstick. I believe that she's a spring. When she wears strong colors next to her face, they look fantastic on her. She's got grey hair. Check her out if you don't know her. Another person who has grey hair is Prue Leith from the Bake Off. And she is definitely wearing her bright colours really, really well. So just be careful that you're not automatically putting yourself into softer categories because your hair has gone grey, white, silver, etc. All right, moving on to the next one. Somebody said, actually, I find the question of bright or muted a bit tricky. Your eye colour is more suited to bright, but your lips and the, in brackets, natural hair colour my eyebrows are more muted to soft muted. I think your hair is dyed and not really that saturated. Love when people comment on your personal appearance. Okay, all of my colouring is natural. The last time I dyed my hair was probably when I was like 14 or something, and I was trying out some kind of plum tones in my hair probably. But I am now 40 and this is my natural hair colour. Thank you very much, as are my brows. My eyebrows have been overplucked because I am, a person who grew up through the early 2000s and those teeny tiny eyebrows were the thing and they never really grew back. But my eyebrows are dark and thicker than they appear. So just to clear that up, it's natural. So to answer that question about bright versus muted, based on my natural appearance, I would be leaning more towards brightness than the softer colours. Another question, and what if I'm in the middle of all the qualities confirmed in hex codes? That's very technical. As a colour consultant, we don't get into hex codes. But basically, if you're in the middle and have no dominant characteristic, you have no dominant characteristic and therefore you are a true winter, true spring, etc. Another comment, when comparing colours, it's hard to only look at one characteristic and filter out the others. The lighter colours were also a bit brighter. That's why you need a trained eye. Spot on with this comment. It is difficult if you're looking at this and you have never trained in colour analysis, and I'm going to go a step further than this because a lot of people are trained in colour analysis and they still get it wrong. You also need experience. Hello, years of it. I was going to say thousands, possibly thousands of colour analysis at this stage that I've done. So yes, you need a trained eye. You need to know how to separate the qualities of colour and exactly what you're looking for in that person as you look at light and dark colours, bright and muted, warm and cool. All these things are very, very different. There's another comment as well that said, and I think actually this came from one of my shorts on YouTube, that somebody said, well, when you put the frame around your face and you eliminate the hair, it's misleading. These are not a colour analysis. They're not the tools that you can just go, oh, that's me. Oh, that's not me. That, if somebody comes to you for a colour consultation, so they're the colour consultant and this is all they have, no, that is not good enough. You need the drapes. You need to go through the process. You need to look at all the features. You need to know what you're looking for. There's a time and a place where your hair is taken into consideration and when it's not. I use these as a recap at the end of a colour consultation, not at the beginning. No. That is not the way to do it. So just be careful that, if you're thinking about buying these or something, they're not going to give you the answers on their own. So with that being said, I'm going to put these frames around my face, which will eliminate my hair to an extent. But you know what my hair looks like now. It's natural. So let's go first. This is our bright winter frame. Okay, so take a good look. All right, so bright winter. Now, full disclosure, I have a little bit of makeup on, so you can make of that what you will. Cool winter. Cool winter. And dark or deep winter. All right, I'm going to leave that with you. Put your comments down below about which winter frame works best. Is it bright? Is it cool? Or is it deep or dark? Notice, of course, that in the bright and in the dark, we're leaning into slightly warmer colors for a reason. Okay, keep that in mind. If you're interested in your own color analysis, get in touch with me. Book a clarity call. I work with people all over the world, from the US to New Zealand, across Europe. I've worked with people in South America. I've worked with people, yeah, you name it. I've worked with people all over the world. I've worked with all different skin types, hair that's been dyed, people with no hair. I've had a lot of experience in this. So if you're looking for a reliable color consultant, get in touch. That's it for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed it and learned something new, and I'll see you again next week for another video. Take care. Bye-bye.